Hi, I'm Brad Carlton. In this lesson, I'm going to take an 8-bar progression that's in the key of C, and I'm going to show you how to approach it other than just using the minor pentatonic scale. We'll talk about arpeggios and the modes, and I'll also later on show you how to build chord voicings. So let's get to it. Let's go through the progression. Starts on F, then G, A minor, F, D minor, G, A minor. Let's do a little analysis before I start soloing on this, and if you're intrigued by those chords, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to build all kind of cool chord voicings to play over this. If you don't know those chords, just practice playing stock bar chords. F, G, A minor, back to F, D minor, G, back to A minor. Then you can extend them by adding the ninths and some different things. Like I said, I'll talk about that later. If we look at this in terms of the street key, and that's a term that I use, you would say this is in A minor because the whole thing resolves to A minor. Theoretically, though, it's in the key of C. F is the 4 chord, G is the 5 chord, A minor is the 6 chord, goes back to F the 4 chord, D minor the 2 chord, G the 5 chord, and then A minor the 6 chord. So we have two things to keep in mind. Now, the street key is really beneficial when you approach things from a blues rock standpoint. The scale that everybody knows when they learn how to play the guitar would be the minor pentatonic. So here we have the 6-string root A minor pentatonic scale. It's in 5th position. So I'm arbitrarily going to plot things out for you and give you some information in 5th position. You can figure out the whole neck, and we'll talk about that later on about how to connect different areas of the neck. But for now, we'll generally be in a 5th position. Now, if I solo over this in a rock blues style, I could just use the A minor pentatonic scale, and that's going to give some pretty good results. And there's a reason why it's going to give some good results. We'll talk about this. But right now, to solo over it and show you how the A minor pentatonic scale sounds against it. Now, I can use a blues approach. I can sound kind of fusiony just by the way I play the pentatonic scale. But on purpose, I'm going to point out some of the weak tones. Now, the reason I can do that is that I know what mode is going on every time the chord changes, so I know which tones are sensitive. I'll explain this later. But for now, just listen to what I'm going to play. That's not bad, you know, it's It has that rock sound, okay? Not bad, but there are some weak notes depending upon what chord you're on. That's the A minor pentatonic scale. Let me demonstrate it with a clean sound. It has a different vibe. Not bad. But you know, what happens is that when the chords change, there are some sensitive tones depending upon what mode you're in and what chord is being played at the key of the moment or the prevailing harmony. Listen to what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to solo and I'm going to zero in on notes using the A minor pentatonic scale that I know are going to be strong with each chord. Now, this is what a blues player or a rock player does when he or she has been playing for a long time and they know what it's going to sound like before they play a note. They will intentionally avoid those weak tones. That was a little stronger. And what I mean by that is if you notice that the end of each phrase targeted a note that was in the chord, it was the root of the chord, in most cases it was the root of the chord, or it was one of the components of the chord. I'll talk about how that works in a few minutes, but right now let's just look at what we have because we're in the key of C. I'm going to show you another approach. If you don't want to just use the A minor pentatonic scale, you could say, well, okay, I've got a C major scale, and I've seen students do this all the time. They learn a scale. So here we have the C major scale, scale form 6. All these things are going to be diagrammed out for you, and that B can also be played out in the 9th fret of the 4th string, so you have a couple different fingerings there. If I solo against a track and I just kind of go up and down the scale, you've probably experienced this if you're kind of new to playing through changes. You know how it leaves you kind of empty. So let's give this a listen. Ooh, that doesn't sound too good. That doesn't sound too good. On purpose, I'm playing some of the weak tones. Remember, I told you I know which ones they are. And you say, well, it just seems like if I'm in the key of C, I should be able to use all of the notes. Well, you can use them all, but certain ones are stronger than others. How do you determine which ones are the strongest? You get down to the chords. You look at the triads, the arpeggios, and all the various extensions, and you organize your notes that way. In the next section, the next lesson, I'm going to show you, we're going to break down the chord progression in terms of arpeggios.